Welcome to Interesting Data FM by Annette and Natalia.
First of all, we need to know what is anatomy and psychology. Anatomy and psychology help us understand how the human body is and how it works. Anatomy is the science that studies the human body. Psychology studies how the body works. The scientists developed a presumed vocabulary to clearly understand what they mean. First of all, the anatomical position. In the anatomical position, the person needs to stand erect, facing the observed, with the head level and the eyes facing forward. The feet are flat on the floor and direct forward. Finally, the arms are hanging at the sides with the palms facing forward. Regional names. The human body is divided into different parts that can be located very easily. They include the head, neck, trunk, upper limbs, and lower limbs. The head protects the brain and the face that is made up the eyes, nose, mouth, ears. The neck is connected that head with the trunk. The trunk goes from the abdomen to the pelvis. Finally, the lower extremities are attached to the trunk from the hip of the feet. Body planes. Body planes are imaginary lines that are drawn in the human body to make divisions between the organ or the simple body. The sagittal plane is responsible for drawing a vertical just in the half. The mid-sagittal or median plane divides the body or organ into equal right and left sides, while a parasagittal plane divides them into equal left and right sides. A frontal or coronal plane divides the body or organ into anterior and posterior parts. Body cavities. The body cavities are spaces that help us to protect and be able to separate our internal organs, and those divisions are divided into two, the dorsal cavity and the ventral cavity. The dorsal is composed into cranial and vertebral. On the other hand, the ventral cavity is composed of the thoracic, abdominal, and pelvic cavity.
Body tissues are cells that work together to carry out a specific function. There are four different types of tissues. Epithelial tissue. This tissue covers all the exposed surfaces of the body. They form external skin, inner lining of the mouth, digestive tract, secretory glands, the lining of hollow parts of every organ, like the heart, lungs, eyes, ears, and also the ventricular system of the brain. Some of its functions are protection against abrasion, radiation damage, chemical stress, and invasion by pathogen. Epithelial tissue is also involved in absorption, secretion, and movement of substances. There are different types of epithelial tissue depending on their function in a particular location. These two types are simple epithelia and stratified epithelia. Epithelia also can be classified by the shape of the cell. These are three types: squamous epithelial tissue, cuboidal epithelial tissue, and columnar epithelial tissue. Connective tissue. This is the most abundant and widely tissue of the four. It contributes to energy storage, protection of organs, and the body's structural integrity. These tissue fibers provide support. Here are found three: collagen, elastic fibers, and reticular fibers. Its main function is support, protection, insulating, storing reserve, fuel, and transport substances within the body. Connective tissue is divided into four categories: connective proper, cartilage, bone, and blood. Muscular tissue. This tissue is found in animals, which consist of fibers of muscle cells, connected together in sheets and fibers known as muscles, and control the movements of an organism, as well as many other contractile functions. The function of this tissue is a nerve impulse traveling from the nerve or another outside signal tell the muscle to contract. It can be used to move bones, compress chambers, or squeeze various organs. There are different types of muscle tissues. The skeletal muscle tissue. This allows striated muscles to contract and release quickly. Cardiac muscle tissue. This helps cardiac muscle to contract and provide movement of blood. And finally, the smooth muscle tissue. This can be used to move blood or food through their respective systems. Nervous tissue. Organized cells in the nervous system that controls the body movements. The function of this tissue is that it makes up the nervous system. The central nervous system coordinates information from all areas of the body and sends nerves impulses that control the body movements. These are some types of nervous tissues. Neurons, they transmit nerve impulses, and neuroglia, it supports neurons and supply them with nutrients. The integumentary system are organs that form the external covering of the body and give protection from threats such as infection, desiccation, abrasion, chemical assault, and radiation damage. The skin consists of two layers, the dermis and the epidermis. The epidermis is the outer layer that is not direct blood. So the cells of this stratified squamous tissue obtain nutrients and oxygen through diffusion. The dermis is supplied with blood vessels and nerve ending, and here is also present the sweat gland. The function of skin is to protect the body from external aggression. Some of the most common diseases of the integumentary system are acne, is an effect of hyperactive sebaceous glands. Herpes, it can spread with direct contact with body fluids. And finally, prolonged exposure to UV rays can result in sunburns or even skin cancer. The skeletal muscular system. The bones of a skeletal system is about 18% of the body weight, and some of its functions are support, protection, aiding movement, mineral homeostasis, blood cell production, and triglyceride storage. Bones are classified by long, short, flat, irregular, or round. The axial skeleton is made up of the bones in the midline of the body, which are the bones of the skull, the bones of the vertebral column, bones of rib cage, and bones of middle ear. The appendicular skeleton are the limbs, pectoral, shoulder, and pelvis girdle. A bone consists of diaphysis, epiphysis, metaphysis, articular cartilage, periosteum, medullary cavity, and endosteum. The types of cell bones are the osteogenic cells, osteoblast, osteocytes, and osteoclast. Types of movements are gliding, rotation, angular movements, and special movements that occur only in certain joints.
Wait for us while we bring you an ad from our official partner.
Welcome to Burger King. Can I take your order, please?
I'm here for the most wanted.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that?
The gang known as the Western Whopper.
Ah, you mean our new Texas barbecue beef bacon and sweet Carolina Whoppers, right?
Yes, I need them now.
Try the new Texas barbecue beef bacon. Pour out tasty honey mustard sauce on our sweet Carolina Whoppers at your nearest BK today. Burger King. Have that your way.
Thank you for staying with us. We will continue with the topic.
The negative mechanism changed the variable back to its original state. The control of blood sugar is a good example. When blood sugar rises, the receptors in the body sense a change. The control center secretes insulin in the blood, effectively lowering blood sugar levels. The positive is the opposite of the negative mechanism. In this, the output enhances the original stimulus. An example of it could be the childbirth. An hormone called oxytocin is released that intensifies contractions. The increase of contractions causes more oxytocin and ends the positive system.
The risk factors of the cancer are: number 1, White skin people are more likely to have cancer. This is because darker skin people produce more melanin that is responsible of having skin color and protecting against UV radiation. Number 2, UV exposed, either natural or artificial, increase the skin cancer. Small burns too. Third, if a family member suffers from skin cancer, almost 10% of patients have cancer had in their family branch. Number 4, the immune system has an important role, since if it is weak, it doesn't function to eliminate bad cells. Over years, you will become cancer cells. And number 5, have moles or lesions. Osteoporosis. What is osteoporosis? Osteoporosis is to have hole in the bones. The bone process is to make new tissue and after time disposal. Some people who suffer from this disease don't make this change. It causes bones to become weak and fragile. The principle is not easy to detect this disease, but with the passage of the time, you can notice the data of hip pain, back, loose height, stupid position, and fractures that suffer from a minimum blow. The risk factors. The risk of osteoporosis increases with the age as the bone becomes naturally thinner. Between 45 and 65 years, a woman that the production of estrogen is lower, so thinning of the bone begins to gradually reduce. Number 2, having family that suffer from osteoporosis. If someone in your family suffered from this disease, you are more prone to osteoporosis. Third one, the lifestyle. Smoking, drinking alcohol, not exercising, or do too little, having an unbalanced diet can decrease bone formation and increase the risk of fractures. Number 5, having disease like diabetes and hypertension. Number 6, taking medications for a long time can cause the bone to become thinner. Number 7, people who have undergone some gastrointestinal surgery, their bodies absorb extra nutrients that include calcium.
Thank you for synchronizing us. We hope you enjoyed our interesting information. Thank you. Have a nice day.